if I'm
My name's Justice.
And I am Sonia. And if you are new here, we want to give you an extra warm welcome this morning. If you haven't already received your free gift, we encourage you to see our Next Steps table out in the back in the lobby to receive that. It's just a token of our appreciation for you joining us this morning. Justice, if you're new here, what can you expect?
Well, we ask you to text the word welcome to number 315-883-2213. That'll help us get connected with you digitally and send you a small gift in the mail.
There are many other ways to get connected, as social media, Facebook, Instagram, all of those fun things. we encourage you to download the Church Center app, which gives you all of our upcoming events, what's going on, life groups, and things like that. Justice, can you talk to us about some upcoming events we have?
Well, coming up this month, we are going to have our trunk or treat, but different from past years, we are not going to have it on Halloween. There are more details to come, but if you would like to get involved with that, please see Carol Russell.
We also do have our Forest Hill Halloween coming up. That is at
My name's Justice.
And I am Sonia. And if you are new here, we want to give you an extra warm welcome this morning. If you haven't already received your free gift, we encourage you to see our Next Steps table out in the back in the lobby to receive that. It's just a token of our appreciation for you joining us this morning. Justice, if you're new here, what can you expect?
Well, we ask you to text the word welcome to number 315-883-2213. That'll help us get connected with you digitally and send you a small gift in the mail.
There are many other ways to get connected, as social media, Facebook, Instagram, all of those fun things. We encourage you to download the Church Center app, which gives you all of our upcoming events, what's going on, life groups, and things like that. Justice, can you talk to us about some upcoming events we have?
Well, coming up this month, we are going to have our trunk or treat, but different from past years, we are not going to have it on Halloween. There are more details to come, but if you would like to get involved with that, please see Carol Russell.
We also do have our Forest Hill Halloween coming up. That is at Love Handles, as we've done it 3 years in the past. It is one of our biggest outreaches of the year. We open up the doors from 6 to 8 on Halloween. We give free froyo, a free topping, and it's just a really good way to be connected here in the community. If you have more questions, if you want to volunteer, please see me so I can get your name down and get you more information on that.
We also have coming up Operation Christmas Child. We have a clip about that.
Good morning, Forward Point. It's so nice to see you all today. My name's Casey. I'm here to give you a little update on Operation Christmas Child. Basically, what we're doing is I spent a little bit of time with the kids upstairs, and we're having so much fun with this, you guys. It's the best ever. I do want to remind you of a couple things. One is the deadline. Got to have those boxes back the week before Thanksgiving. They have to be back. That's so we can get them to the National Collection Center, and they can go through them because they all have to go through customs and all that good stuff. So we definitely want to see those back. But I have a video to show you guys about how much fun we're having up in Kidman. Check this out.
Ready?
Thank you!
In all of them. So we're going to put colored pencils in all of them.
I need a tab. Yeah, I need a tab. Oh, this one needs Here, you guys can organize.
It is actually really nice to see all the kids working together, and we're learning about giving. You know, it's been this theme. They've been talking about the 10 Commandments. They've been talking about giving to other people, and it's just been a really, really great experience to work with the kids through all this. Again, we do need to have these boxes back the week before Thanksgiving. I will have, next week, I'll give you actual dates that we need to have that back to meet the people for the National Collection Service, okay? $10. A $10 donation. If you were to scan that QR code on the box, you can donate your $10 there, and you can track that box. You can see it go from here all the way to its destination, and it's really fun to watch. It's kind of like that whole, Where is Santa Claus on Christmas Eve, on Nordak, I think that is. It's kind of like that. You get to watch the box go and reach its destination in the end. So more than happy to go ahead and help you out getting the box. And if you have any further questions, I'll be hanging around after service, so you can definitely go ahead and ask me those questions.
Thank you so much, Casey, for that update. If you want more information on that, please feel free to reach out to Casey, and she will help you with that.
And if this is what you've decided you want to give, we have a couple ways you can do that. You can give in the Joy Box in the back of the theater, because giving is a joy. You can give online at forwardpoint.org, or you can text any amount to the number 84321.
And we're going to get ready to sing some songs right now and continue with our gathering. Thank you so much, everyone.
Have a great week.
Good morning, everyone. If you want to stand, let's sing some songs together. Nothing can separate. Nothing can separate. Even if I run away, your love never fails. I know I still make mistakes, but you have new mercies for me every day. Your love never fails. You stay the same. You stay the same through the ages. Your love never changes. There may be pain in the night, but joy comes in the morning. And when the oceans rage, I don't have to be afraid, because I know that you love me. Your love never fails. The wind is strong, the wind is strong and the water's deep, but I'm not alone in these open seas, 'cause your love never fails. The chasm is far too wide. I never thought I'd reach the other side, 'cause your love never fails. Let me hear ya. You stay the same through the ages. Your love never changes. There may be pain in the night, but joy comes in the morning. And when the oceans rage, I don't have to be afraid, because I know that you love me. Your love never fails. Sing with us. You make all things work together for our good. You make all things work together for my good. Let me hear you again. You make all things work together for my good. You make all things work together for my good. You stay the same through the ages. Your love never changes. There may be pain in the night, but joy comes in the morning. And when the oceans rage, I don't have to be afraid, because I know that you love me. You stay the same through the ages. Your love never changes. There may be pain in the night, but joy comes in the morning. ocean's rage. I don't have to be afraid, because I know that you love me. Your love never fails. Your love never fails. Your love never fails.
I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. Ooh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. You say I am held when I am falling short. When I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe the only thing that matters now is everything you think of me. In you I find my worth, in you I find my identity. Ooh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. You say I am held when I am falling short. And when I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe. Taking all I have and now I'm laying it at your feet. You'll have every failure, God. You'll have every victory. Ooh, you say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. You say I am held when I am falling short. And when I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. You say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. You say I am held when I am falling short. And when I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe, and I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. You unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies, till all my fears are gone. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. From my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Love has called my name. I've been born again into your family. Your blood flows through my veins. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God.
Split the sea.
You split the sea so I could walk right through it. My fears were drowned in perfect love. You rescued me so I could stand and sing. I am a child of God. You split the sea so I could walk right through it. My fears were drowned in perfect love. You rescued me so I could stand and sing. I am a child of God. I am a child of God. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God.
All right, find someone with the green vest, you guys. Have some fun. We'll catch you a little bit. That's for kids. You got to be like, a certain age.
business district is doing. So at the last minute, they decided to do their James Street Business District trick-or-treat on Halloween from 4 to 6. So Forward Point is going to be participating really for the first time as Forward Point in the parking lot of our new location there across the street from Love Handles. So we're going to be having our own trunk or treat across from Love Handles. Love Handles will be giving out some candy. And then at 6, we're going to kind of change gears really fast and turn Love Handles into a free froyo for the next couple of hours as part of the Forest Hill extravaganza that happens there. So if you're at all able to be a part of our trunk or treat, we'd love to have you. Talk to Miss Carol. If you're able to help out at Love Handles as part of the free froyo giveaway afterwards, talk to Miss Sonia. And it's going to be a couple hours of lots of fun, good times, and just being a blessing to our community and meeting and greeting as many people as possible. We're also going to be having kind of an intro, if you're curious about what it might look like to start some midweek youth programs through Forward Point. Again, we're going to be looking to use our building across the street there as much as possible, and there's a growing need for us to have some midweek youth programming. So if you're at all interested in being a part of that or what it might look like, 2 weeks from today, we're going to be having a meeting right afterwards at our house. We'll have some lunch there, and mark it on your calendars. I can't remember. It's the first Sunday of November, but we'd love to have you participate with us. It's a week from next Sunday, 2 weeks from today, so please join us for that if you are at all able to. Believe it or not, Forward Point had some youth ministry programming a couple years before COVID. It was at the Doyle's house, and I cut my, whatever the expression is, my teeth on youth ministry. If you had asked me out of Bible school in my first youth ministry position if I'd ever do anything else but youth ministry, I would have told you no. I am more than happy to be in youth ministry for as long as I'm effective and as long as I'm able to relate to them. Now having my own kids, I realize that there is a time clock on how well you can be relevant and effective in youth ministry, because they say all sorts of things, and I'm like, what in the world does that even mean, right? Did anybody know 6'7"? 6'7". I have no idea what that means, but they say it all the time and they think it's the funniest thing. And I realize, yes, there is probably for most people some kind of expiration date for youth ministry, but I never would have imagined that I would be, talking to adults now on a regular basis. So when I think back on my youth ministry career, some of the most, I would say, intimidating times, most worrisome times, most anxious-filled time was being the guy, being the head dude, and someone coming into and having some kind of problem. And I'm like, Bible school did not train me at all for whatever this issue was that I'm facing. It could be programming, it could be events, but the thing that kind of rose to the top where I would feel the most anxiety, the most pressure, the most worrisome is a student coming into my office and having some kind of life issue and thinking, how in the world do I talk to this person without breaking them even more, right? Like, how do I engage with them and give them advice that's not going to cause post-traumatic stress syndrome because of what I told them to do, and it's going to blow up? And one person really comes to mind that was kind of the first person who I had a chance to talk to on a deeper level besides, like, the Romans Road and some of these other things. She came into my office, and she was a young girl who was dealing with all sorts of self-mutilation issues, self-esteem issues. She had an alcoholic dad, kind of an absent mother. And I remember she came into the office, and she sat down, and she just kind of started unloading about her life. And I'm thinking in the moment, like, what in the world can I say that's going to help this young lady in even the least bit? So what I did to kind of try to stall and give myself more time is I just started asking questions. I figured if I asked questions, then she would just keep talking, and that would give me the opportunity to come up with some kind of, message from the heart of God straight to this person that's going to deliver her and, set her on a course to be Miss America for her life. But that didn't happen. What I realized about 30, 45, 60 minutes later was that just after asking a series of questions, this young student had kind of gone through this self-reflection period where she was able to talk through a lot of what she was experiencing. Sure, there were tears and there was emotions, and I'm just in my mind thinking, how in the world do I not break this young girl even more? But afterwards, without any kind of divine revelation from God about what I should tell her, she had somehow healed herself in the moment. Now, she had to deal with a lot of bigger issues over the course of her life. What I realized is that, I didn't have to have all the answers. All I had to do was to sit down in front of her and to ask engaging, follow-up, poignant questions to help her process through how she was feeling. But I'll tell you, there's nothing like that feeling of sitting thinking that the rest of somebody's life is kind of dependent on what you're about to say. It's a little worrisome, right? Especially if you knew me growing up, or if you hang out with me outside of maybe a Sunday morning, you think, man, God trusted Jimmy with that kind of responsibility, and I agree with you. But what I've come to find out is that this is a very practical way that God made us. Fast forward a few years, my wife and I and Justice are now in Indiana working as a high school pastor there, and they started to be able to give me some language to what this process was happening. They call it Kairos moment. What they call it was this opportunity where something is going on in your life, and you really have one of two options. Like, you can just deal with the issue that has popped up, maybe some kind of argument, maybe some kind of road rage, something has happened, something has popped up, and you're just frustrated or angry about what is going on and what you did. But the Kairos moment is to pause, to process with somebody else, maybe just to process with yourself and to say, what is the deeper issue that's going on here? What are some questions that I can ask? What are some things that I can do to kind of process what is happening underneath the surface? What is God trying to reveal about what's inside of me that causes me to jump to this reaction, this anger, this lust, this whatever the case may be? And it started to give me some language to this process that I kind of had just fallen into quite by accident, really by emergency. And now fast forward a few more years, my family's back here in Syracuse, and I decide, let's get together with a bunch of guys, and we said we're going to get together on a Saturday morning, bright and early, before anyone else is up, because we want it to be tough, we want it to be a commitment. And I still remember going into this first Saturday morning guys group, and I had my list of things that I wanted to go through, and the things that I wanted to accomplish, and the things that I wanted to have happen. And we get there, and we just start talking, and everyone's introducing themselves, and almost now naturally, because it's the skill I kind of naturally developed, I just started following up with some in-depth, poignant questions about not what they were saying, but what was behind what they were saying. And over the course of the next couple hours, we never got to the list of things that I wanted to talk to. And here we are some years later, and that group has grown and gotten to a place where we had to rethink it a couple times. We had to shrink it a couple times, and it's still meeting bright and early before anyone else is awake. Because there's something about, if we can work through the fear, the pressure, the anxiety of the moment of what we think that we're supposed to do or what we think we're supposed to accomplish, on the other side of that, I believe, are these Kairos moments where we can begin to talk through what it is that God's trying to do in our lives. So I want you to think about for a second, when you get in that moment where you feel like the spotlight is on you and you are you want to hide, maybe as a result of something you did, or maybe as a result of something that's coming up in later today or later this week or later this month, like it just fills you with some sense of anxiety or pressure, or this feeling like you don't know if you're going to be able to make it through. What do you do in situations like that? Better yet, what does Jesus tell us to do? This is what he tells us to do. He says, do not worry. Right? Seems kind of, who in the history of mankind has ever helped somebody to stop worrying simply by telling them, hey, stop worrying? Has it ever worked for anybody here? I know it has not worked for me, but somehow I still try to use that strategy time after time. And kind of the curse of being a male, I think, is just stop worrying. It'll fix all your problems, right? And here we have Jesus kind of turn to these words and talking to his disciples and now talking to you and me, and he just says, do not worry. So we've been going through this Sermon on the Mount series, and we're about to close the chapter on chapter 6. And believe it or not, as we get into chapter 7, we probably have just another 4 or 5 weeks, I would say, before this entire series is over. But at the end here of chapter 6, Jesus tells us to not worry. A little more context to the verse. He says, therefore I tell you, do not worry. Now here's a little freebie to save you from having to go to Bible school. One of the things they taught us in Bible school is that whenever you see the word therefore, you have to stop and say, what is it there for? Really what's going on here is Jesus is kind of tacking on to what we just went through last week in the end of the Lord's Prayer and his talk on treasures in heaven. Really this idea of what do we put our trust in, right? Last week we looked at this idea that what you value is determined not by your words, right? Not by what you say, not what you want other people to hear come out of your mouth because it sounds spiritual or because it sounds American or whatever the case may be. But in fact, what you value is determined by your actions, how you live. Jesus says, where your treasure is, there where your heart will be. He doesn't say, hey, where your heart is, all your treasures are going to follow. Because, having been around since the beginning, how we naturally, with a sin nature, kind of default that it's not about where our heart is and where we'd like our heart to be, that then our treasures will follow. No, he says, where your treasure is, that's where your heart will follow. That's where your heart is going to be. And he closed up that section last week by saying, you cannot serve God and mammon. In some of your translations it says money, but it's from this word mammon. That's really this idea of you can't serve God and whatever you put your trust in. For most of us, maybe if not all of us, there's a good chance money ranks high up there in what we put our trust in. Which is why we have this, American dream kind of culture. You work your 40 hours plus, you're going to get your house with the picket fence and your 2.5 kids and your dog and cats. So there is a part of money that is something we all put our trust in, but it's not limited to just money. There's a good chance for you and for me that there's probably a list of things that we would say, not by our words, but by our actions that we put our trust in. Usually, we can be found out by two things we looked at last week. Our bank statement and our calendar. What are the things that we're spending money on, and what are the things that we're spending our time on? That will probably give us some good insight into what it is that we put our trust in. So Jesus picks up and he says, as a conclusion, as a result of all this about where your heart is, where your treasure is, you can't serve God and money. Therefore, I tell you, do not worry about your life. In conclusion, as a response to, do not worry about your life. Now, if we were just to pause for a second and you were to take out a piece of paper, and for you personally, just think about, maybe pull out your phone and in the notes app, you write a few things down. What is it in your life that you worry about? What are some of the things that are going on that you worry about? Could be finances for some of us. Could be relationships for some of us. Some that are starting to form, some that are starting to unform. It could be employment. We don't have a job. We would like the job. We would like the higher position in the job. But what is it in your life that you tend to worry about? What comes to mind? And then here Jesus is in the midst of that. He says, hey, therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life. Right? He says, what you will eat or drink. How many of us came up with eating or drinking on our list of things we worry about day to day? Now, there may be some places in the world where that is on the list, where they do have to worry about eating or drinking. But I don't believe that Jesus is talking to a group of people who are struggling with their next meal. Right? Jesus is not downplaying some of the fears that we have. What he's doing is he's creating this kind of hyperbolic example, right? We think about our life and, man, yeah, all these things that are happening in our life. And then he kind of goes to the other side of the extreme and he says, yeah, worrying about what you're going to eat or what you're going to drink, right? And I'm sure the audience at the time, kind of on the edge of their seat thinking about life's issues, probably got a little chuckle out of him. Because they're probably not worrying about what they're going to eat or what they're going to drink. They know when the time comes, when their stomach starts growling, right? When mom starts putting chow on the table, it's time to eat. When it's time to eat, there's a good chance there's going to be some wine beverage there at the table, and it's going to be time to drink. Not really high up on their list of worrisome, anxiety-causing issues. And then he kind of doubles down on this hyperbolic structure that he's going with. He goes, so, worrying about your body, right? Therefore, I tell you, do not worry about your body. Now, again, if we just pause for a second, you pull out your notes app, and you start writing down the answer to the question, what do I worry about for my body? There's probably some serious things that come up. For some of you, it might be some kind of sickness or diagnosis. For some of you, it might be, man, I would really like to keep some of my hair. For other of you, it might be, man, God, I would really like to lose some of this extra weight. Right? There's probably all sorts of things that would come up on your list. And then once again, as Jesus is creating this tension of, man, our bodies, what's going on with our bodies, he then kind of goes to the other extreme and says, hey, don't worry about what you're going to wear. Right? How many of you this morning, when you started kind of going through that list in your minds, put down what I'm going to wear today on the list? It probably didn't rank very high for you. Because there's all sorts of other things when it comes to your body. Man, I'm just grateful that it got me out of bed this morning. Because sometimes I play a game of cornhole and it takes me out for a series of months. All right? Who cares what I'm wearing? But Jesus is creating this tension. Right? And he's using some humor to kind of break the ice, to get them thinking about what's going on in their mind, and then him kind of just, what you're going to eat or drink, or what you're going to wear. And this tension is causing us to kind of lower our guard. Because the question is, right, is not life more than food and the body more than clothes? And of course, all of us would say, yes, that is exactly the answer. So it'd be real easy to read this and go through this and kind of think, man, can we trust Jesus? Because if Jesus is kind of summing up the fear of life and the fear of our bodies to what we eat and drink and to what we wear, it kind of feels like he's not really in touch with my story. It doesn't really seem like he's got a grasp on what's happening in life. So this morning we're going to be diving into this idea through Jesus' words here in chapter 6. It's worry and anxiety are not sins to avoid, but rather invitations to change what you are putting your trust in. This is the Kairos moment, right? For many of us, we think worry and anxiety, it's kind of in the spiritual world, it's kind of gotten to this place where it's just a sin. When you continue to do this, you're sinning. You're not trusting in God. You don't have enough faith. But in reality, these are moments where God's wanting to reveal what's below the surface. Not what it is that you're dealing with, the diagnosis, the relationship that's falling apart, the fill in the blank. Those are not the real issue. So this worry that you're experiencing, this anxiety that you're feeling, this is an invitation to dig deeper into what's going on below the surface. And in doing so, this builds your relationship with God. This does build your faith muscle. But this is not reflected by our bank statements or our calendars. There are not many of us who put this as a high enough priority where we reorient everything in our life to reflect this invitation. This invitation to process with God, to change what it is that we're putting our trust in. So for many of us, we live in the tension of serving God or mammon. More often than not, what we put in our trust in winning out. Not by our words, because we would never say that when we're gathering for prayer time or in life group, but it's revealed by our actions. So then Jesus goes on to give us one of two examples. He says, look at the birds. Look at all the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? And the answer to that question is so important. Not just what comes out of your mouth, but what you believe in your heart. Do you believe that you are more valuable? Can you even say it? Can you say it this morning? I am more valuable. Go ahead, try saying it. I am more valuable. See, none of you guys are even saying it. Sure, we would know the right answer to the circle on the test that this is true. But for how many of us has this gotten inside of us that you are more valuable? So what is the message that you're telling yourself? In the midst of whatever it is you're worrying about, in the midst of whatever it is that's causing this anxiety, what is the message that you're telling yourself? I must not have enough faith. God must not love me. God can't use me. What is the message that you're telling yourself? Because that reveals what you truly believe. Not what you say, but what you do. And does how God feel about you change based on the outcome? Right? Does you being more valuable or not change based on the outcome of whatever it is you're walking through? The social experiment called being a parent and raising other human beings. The times that you slip and maybe say things that you don't mean to, the times that you look at things that maybe, when those things happen, does this change? And there's a good chance for a lot of us that we believe that it does. Again, not based on what we would say, but based on the story that we're telling ourselves in the way that we live. Right? Are you not much more valuable than they? And he says this, he says, can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? Right? It's a rather sobering statement. It reminds me of the Snickers commercial that came out when I was young. I don't know if you remember this commercial. There's this kind of scrawny man. He's not wearing a shirt, and he's got one of those what I call monk hairstyles, you know, where the hair goes around, but it's like bald on top. Some of you guys are praying that doesn't happen to you. Some of you, it's an inevitable result. But he's making all these weird faces in front of the mirror. Do you remember this? He's like, it, kind of looks like he's trying to poop. But in fact, what he's trying to do is he's trying to grow hair. And after about 20 seconds of all these weird faces, all of a sudden you hear this boink. And this one piece of hair pops out of his bald head. Right? And then the line is Snickers, not going anywhere for a while. Have a Snickers, right? And then it cuts back to him, and all of a sudden he's got this unibrow. Right? Like he able to grow it there, right? Who, by worrying, by grunting, by squinting, by making weird noises, right, can add a single hair to their head? You can't do it. Not even with a Snickers bar. So who by worrying can add even an hour, even 10 minutes to their life? No one. In fact, I think there's probably a lot of us who may be subtracting hours from our lives as a result of the worry and the anxiety. I know that God works all things. He's omnipresent, but I believe we also have a free will, and there's things that we can do to cut short. God can redeem any mistake that we make. He can actually cause there to be plenty out of famine. But there are things that you and I can do that shorten our life. And while we may not be able to add time to our life by worrying, we probably can cut it short through the way worry and anxiety affect our hearts and our blood pressure, ulcers. There's all sorts of ways. So Jesus is trying to give us some very real and practical ways through which we can live. So he says, and why do you worry about clothes? And here's the second example, the second picture he gives us. He says, see how the flowers of the field, they grow, they do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you? And again, the answer is yes. You are more valuable. As beautiful as that landscape is with the flowers that you have on your wall or in your office, you are more valuable. But forward point, before you can trust God for the big things, we have to trust him with the small things. You see, this faith thing is a muscle. This do not worry thing is a muscle. So before you ever are going to get to a place where you're trusting God in the midst of the bad news, we have to practice trusting God in the midst of the mundane news. The news that we can handle. Because we got to flex and work out this muscle. And I know all sorts of people who've been Christians for decades, and they get some kind of life-altering news, and it's almost as if their world comes shattering down. Because for them, their faith was just a series of good things that happened to them. So they never had to practice their faith. So now their faith muscle is weak and lethargic. You see, these things, the clothes that we wear, the birds in the sky, the flowers of the field, those all have expiration dates. You and I, we don't have an expiration date. Your spirit is going to live on beyond this body. Your body has an expiration date. But there's a part of you that's going to live on through eternity. And that's what God looks at and he sees and says, man, you are way more valuable than anything else that's been created. So why do you worry? And this is what he calls everybody. He uses this phrase. He says, you of little faith. It almost kind of feels like a sting, right? Like a burn. Like Jesus is kind of calling us out, right? But this is actually a term of endearment. This is a phrase that also came up when, if you remember the story of Peter walking on the water, right? He gets out of the boat. There's a storm that's going crazy, and the boat's going up and down, and they see Jesus, and he's all like, if it's really you, Jesus, let me come out to the water with you, right? It was kind of silly because if it's not Jesus, he's going straight to the bottom. So it's like, I don't know your logic there, Peter. But he gets enough faith to get out of the water, and he starts walking towards Jesus, but then the waves and the storm, they catch his eye, and he takes his eyes off of Jesus and on the storm around him, and it's as soon as he's falling, as soon as he's probably gone fully under, Jesus' arms are there grabbing him, and he pulls him up, and he uses the same expression. He says, you of little faith. Actually, this little faith. Hey, little faith. It's actually this term of endearment. It's like a nickname. Jesus is giving a nickname to Peter. And he's giving a nickname to you and me. Growing up, and even to this day, my parents have always called me boy. It's their nickname for me, right? It's kind of obvious. But a lot of times, other people hear it and like, why does your family call you boy? Like, you're an adult, and isn't it degrading? And that's just always been the nickname that they've called me from Tarzan. Their little child, they called it boy, so they call me boy. And my parents call me boy. To the outside world, you hear it and you think, man, your parents are degrading you. Your parents, they need to grow up. But no, it's a term of endearment. And Jesus here, just like with Peter, with you and me, he's giving us this Not a slap in the face, not a rebuke. It's a term of endearment. So the question this morning is, are you listening to your story? Are you listening to their story that they're telling you? Or are you listening to his story? Because Jesus does not call you out, he calls you up. And there's a good chance that the story you're hearing from other people, or maybe the story that you're telling yourself, is calling you out. But that's not the voice of Jesus or the Holy Spirit. Jesus' voice is always going to be to call you up. Say, hey, what you're dealing with right now, it's the wind and the waves, right? But that's not really the deeper issue, Peter. We're going to have a Kairos moment, and we're going to dig a little deeper. And there's actually a faith thing going on. There's a story that you're telling yourself that doesn't line up with the story that I am trying to tell you. And that's what we want to work through. What story are you listening to? So he says, don't worry about what you're going to eat, right? That's so silly. What you're going to drink, so silly. Or what we're going to wear, again, so silly. Because all the pagans, they run after those things. And your Heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you. Seek first his kingdom. Where's your treasure? Because that's going to tell you what kingdom you're seeking after. Remember, his righteousness, it's not about you being good. His righteousness is about working towards the renewing of our relationship with each other and collectively our relationship with God. Seek those things, and then all these other things will be given to you as well. Therefore, after all of this, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. And as I was pouring into this, man, never have I ever felt more ill-equipped to come and and talk about anxiety and worry. So as is my routine as I try to dive into Jesus, and I think about, man, how is this going to work? Because we're not going to look and find an example of Jesus worrying and full of anxiety, right? Because that's kind of the mindset that we have. Worry and anxiety, it's a sin, so Jesus didn't sin, so there's no chance that he dealt with this. But then I was reminded about this time where he was praying in a garden, praying with such worry and anxiety that literally the sweat that was pouring from his body was like drops of blood, because the pressure was causing the capillaries underneath his skin to explode, and the blood was mixing with the sweat and then pouring from his body. Tell me that is not a sign of stress and anxiety and worry. So either Jesus sinned, or maybe the message and the culture that we've been setting for ourselves, that you have to have it all together, otherwise you're not trusting Jesus, is not actually the right and appropriate culture we should be setting. Because in that moment, Jesus gives us an example. He shows us that in those moments of worry and anxiety, that they're going to come. But to worry and get anxious over what is about to happen, not what's going to happen tomorrow or what's going to happen next week. Don't worry about tomorrow. Right, Jesus was just a few hours away from some brutal actions that were going to be taken against him. But up until this point, you don't really see Jesus worried or anxious. He knew what was going to happen. It should have been all throughout the Gospels, right? Jesus got alone to be worried and anxious about what was going to happen 3 years from now. No, because he didn't he didn't get that far in advance. He was focused on what was right in front of him. And then finally, when it's just a few hours away, okay, it's time to do business with what's about to happen. I'm not going to let it affect my 3 years of ministry, but here we are just a few hours away, so we're going to get serious with God. God, if there is any way, Father, if there is any way for you to do this a different way, Let's do it that way. And in that moment, I got to believe between the lines, there was some heart-to-heart about the father to the son saying, man, you are way more valuable. What you are about to go through is just a small piece that's so important for all of humanity. Jesus said, okay, not my will, but your will. Whether or not I get the healing or I don't, whether or not the magical check comes in the mailbox to pay that bill comes or not, it's not going to be my will, it's going to be your will. And I'm sure you can think of a story where you're going to have to wrestle with this. I know for the Doyles, we're kind of living in this story. Just under a year ago, we were given this opportunity as we walked into this foster care system to take a young child into our house. Many of you have gotten the chance to meet him, but it was under this idea that it was going to be a foster to adopt, meaning that he was going to be put up for adoption and we were going to get a chance to adopt him. Literally within days of him being in our house, we got paperwork from the county for us to sign called TPR, the Termination of Parental Rights. They were going to be going through that process. And then about 3 or 4 months, 5 months into him being in our home, the judges in our case have changed. And now with this new judge, there's kind of been this new opportunity for the father to make headway now to have his son back. This is a young boy who's been in the foster care since he was 13 months old, now 4 years old. So from the beginning, it was always mom and dad, and these are your sisters, and now we're living in this water where, truthfully, we don't know if the next court date that we go to, it's going to be a step closer to him leaving our house and going back to his parents' house. Next month is going to be a year that he's lived with us, and we have to fight with this tension of, are we going to love him like he was our own, despite maybe losing him? So like Jesus, we're not going to worry about tomorrow. There's going to be a day where later on today, we're going to have to wrestle and we're going to be worried and we're going to, God, how do you enter into this situation and not maybe take a dagger to our family? Because that's the kind of pain that we're talking here. And if we do get the dagger into our family, how are you going to heal us? How are you going to walk through this with us so that we don't come out of this bitter, so we don't come out of this angry, so we don't come out of this giving up on our desire to be a part of restoring young people's lives here in our community? Because that would be easy to do. This would be an easy excuse to say, oh, we're not doing this again. But we're not going to worry about that today. Today, we're going to choose to continue to love him as if he was our own. His sisters are going to continue to choose to love him as if they're their own. When we get closer, we'll probably ask many of you to be praying for him, for the situation, for us, for whatever the outcome is. There will be a time and a moment to worry and be anxious. And in that moment, it's not a sin, Forward Point, but it's an invitation. It's an invitation to converse with the Father about what it is you're putting your trust in. Because serving God and serving that can't happen. Either you're going to love the one and hate the other, or you're going to serve the one and hate the other. And God, as the gentleman that he is not going to push his way to the front. But he does think that you are more valuable than anything else that he's created. He's put his image on you. And when that time comes, when that Kairos moment happens, you may need to surround yourself with some people who just can be present, can hug you. But there's going to be an opportunity to use those moments, those feelings, and ask yourself, what is it that I'm putting my trust in? God, we're so grateful that you did not just put us here on this spinning round mass to figure it out on our own, to go it solo or alone. But God, you moved into the neighborhood. You moved into the neighborhood and you used humor, you used hyperbolic examples. You tease us by talking about how we worry about what we're going to eat or drink or what we're going to wear. You do that so you can build a rapport with us, so that we can work out this faith muscle, so that we trust you a little bit more today than maybe we did yesterday. We trust you a little bit in these small things, so then we can trust you a little bit when the bigger things happen. And then when the really big things happen, God, we don't have just atrophied muscles. And God, we have a faith that won't be shaken. So God, as we look out into a community that sometimes it just feels like we don't know what to do or what to say, your response is always, hey, we're not going to worry about that. We're not going to worry about tomorrow. We're not going to worry about the next event. What's going on today? Let's look at today, because who by worrying can add a hair to their head or some time to their life. But what we can do is work our faith muscle, so we can believe for our city things that maybe nobody else has believed for. That we can stand up against things that maybe nobody else has stood up for. That we don't look at things like Halloween or anything else that a political party as things that make people untouchable, that make situations make us feel like we have to avoid and run away from. But God, you would use us as agents of redemption in the same way that you're redeeming us from day to day, that we would become just little walking redemption bombs. That we're going to fight, we're going to bend over backwards, not to have the community form around us, but to show them that we're living and we're here for them. Thank you for doing that for us. So help us to do it for them. We love you.
Before I reach out my arms, you open up yours. Before I pour out my heart, you know every thought. I will be anxious for nothing. Hold on to one thing, my comfort, my peace. I will be safe in your presence, so fierce and so tender. My comfort, my peace. Your voice, stronger than fear, waits in the night. Your words tear through the dark, flooded with light, fill it with fire. I will be anxious for nothing, hold on to one thing, my comfort, my peace. I will be safe in your presence, so fierce and so tender, my comfort, my peace. You won't forsake me, you won't betray me, you never fail me, and I won't be afraid. You won't forsake me, you won't betray me, you never fail me, and I won't be afraid. You will protect me, you will defend me, you're standing with me, and I won't be afraid. You will protect me, you will defend me, you're standing with me, and I won't be afraid. I will be anxious for nothing, hold on to one thing, my comfort, my peace. I will be safe in your presence, so fierce and so tender, my comfort, my peace. I will be anxious for nothing, hold on to one thing, my comfort, my peace. I will be safe in your presence, so fierce and so tender, my comfort, my peace.
All right, one more, everyone. You know this one. Yes, Spirit.
As the Spirit was moving over the water, Spirit, come move over us. Come rest on us. Come rest on us. As the Spirit was moving over the water, Spirit, come move over us. Come rest on us. Come rest on us.
Come down.
Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me. Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me.
Fire and wind.
Fire and wind, come and do it again. Open up the gates, let heaven on in. Come rest on us. Come rest on us. Fire and wind, come and do it again. Open up the gates, let heaven on in. Come rest on us. Come rest on us. Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me. Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me. Holy Spirit, come rest on us. You're all we want. You're all we want. Holy Spirit, come rest on us. You're all we want. You're all we want. Holy Spirit, come rest on us. You're all we want. You're all we want. Holy Spirit, come rest on us. You're all we want. You're all we want. Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me. Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me. Come down, Spirit, when you move, you make my heart pound. When you fill the room, you're here and I know you are moving. I'm here and I know you will fill me.
We love you guys. Thank you so much for coming today. If always you need prayer, there's a prayer corner in the back. If you have kids, make sure you get your kids. But just love on each other and we'll see you out in the back, all right? Have a great week.